Would you break up with someone after seeing their apartment for the first time? So let's grab a pen and paper and do some doodles. Hi, it's Kat Starling, and I like to do doodle videos paired with internet discussions and conversations. Let's unwind, listen, and reflect on some human stories. AITA for breaking up with her after I saw her apartment. I've been seeing this girl for a few months. We met through a friend, so I knew her a little bit longer, but she was gorgeous and I was super into her. Last Saturday, she invited me to her place, which I had never been to. She had mentioned her apartment was a mess, and I laughed because I thought she was just being self-deprecating. But when we got to her place, holy poop, dude. Oh yeah, like when you're visiting a friend's house and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, my place is a mess, but inside it's immaculate. Say like one bag of trash that needs to be taken out. Yeah, I know how that is. I want to start off by saying I know people have their reasons for stuff like this, and I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but the estate of her apartment was genuinely shocking when I first went in. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes this is how people grow up and it becomes their normal, or they just have a little bit of a hoarding problem. It was a pretty small place, and I'm not just talking about clutter, literally piles of trash on the floor, sink full of dishes overflowing to the counter, stains on the couch and carpet, week-old food on the table. Oh no, okay, week-old food, not good. And just piles and piles of stuff everywhere.
You know how you throw your jacket on a chair at the end of the day? Well, like that, only instead of a chair, it's a pile of garbage.
Not to mention the overpowering smell of mold and mildew that I could literally taste in my mouth. Bleh. She told me to sit down and stuff like it was completely normal, and I tried to not act weird, but I'm sure she noticed. I stayed for a bit and we watched a movie on the couch, but I left before it got too late. The next day I called her and told her I don't think things were gonna be compatible between us, and she got mad at me for leading her on and breaking up with her for no reason. I'm confused. Not being compatible is a reason, is it not? I didn't mention the apartment, but I don't know, maybe I should have? Literally nothing about her parents' personality would lead me to expect this, so it was sort of unbelievable to see the state she was living in. I feel bad for her, and I'm worried I might have acted too quickly. So it sucks that it took several months of dating her to see the state of her apartment, but I see this as a compatibility issue. You really don't want to be stuck cleaning up after her for the rest of your life. However, I believe for shorter relationships, you don't always need to go into great detail when breaking up. Things could just not work out. It really can be that simple. If you kept things going long term and then broke up with her, I would see that more as leading her on. I think cleanliness should be a compatibility thing to consider while dating someone. You did give her a reason why you broke up with her though. You saw that you guys were not compatible. If she kept pressing you, I might have gotten more specific, but you didn't need to. I think she was just upset you broke up with her and was not taking it well. Also, OP did edit to add that they finally did watch that Friends episode. I just watched that Friends episode. Wow, scarily similar, LOL. Let's take a look at what some of the comments had to say. NTA, but I do think you should have mentioned the apartment. People who don't know what the problem is cannot take any corrective action. Tell her and move on. Okay, yeah, so this comment does make a really good point. Telling her allows her to fix the problem. But a word of caution, be careful about giving false hope. You don't want her thinking that if she changes, you'll get back together. This level of mess could possibly be deep-rooted and something that she's going to have to work through long term. I wish I had paid attention to this red flag. I did not, and now I'm having to extricate myself from a long-term relationship that has been severely damaging to my mental health. NTA. Yeah, living with someone who can live in that kind of mess can really mess with your head. You will always have a messy, chaotic home. NTA, I married my wife without really knowing what her lifestyle was. From what I understood, she grew up homeless after her parents divorced, and because of that, she developed a habit of hoarding. She is constantly afraid of becoming homeless again, so she would hold on to everything. Yeah, for some people, this life is normal, and sometimes people stay because they think they can help, but the problem is bigger than any friend or partner that really can help with. If I had known what life with her would be like, I probably would have walked away before it got serious. But I stayed married with her for 9 years, and honestly, it was a nightmare. I was always cleaning up after her, trying to get rid of stuff we didn't need. She had like 21 sewing machines, 5 litter boxes for one cat. She even collects old razors that other people had used. Now I'm finally going through a divorce, and I feel like I can breathe again. If I had known about her hoarding issues from the beginning, I would never have moved forward with this relationship. You are absolutely not the a-hole. That kind of behavior is a major red flag. Yeah, that's saying something if you can say that you can finally breathe after going through a divorce. Wow. Yeah, you absolutely did the right thing by leaving sooner than later. This is just not a life you wanted to live. Compatibility isn't just about chemistry. It's also about hygiene. If you have to dodge pizza boxes like landmines just to sit down, it's not, quote, quirky. That's a health hazard. You didn't ghost her, you bowed out respectfully. That's not being shallow, that's self-preservation. Yeah, it is important to be compatible with your partner and how they clean. This is how your life will be for as long as you're with this person. So if you're both messy, make sure you're both the same kind of messy. And if you're both clean, make sure you're both the same kind of clean. So for example, I really don't like doing dishes, but I like to wait for the dishwasher to be full before I run it. So my partner, he doesn't mind if I wait a couple of days before it gets run. On the other hand, he's the one who empties the trash, but he doesn't like to take it out to the big cans until he leaves for work. This is just more convenient for him. I don't mind if it's out of the way and the dogs can't get to it, and he really doesn't leave it sit for that long. I find we're both compatible in this way. We like a clean house, but it doesn't need to be spotless or neat all the time. So let's take a look at the next story I have here for you guys. AITA for telling my friend that I've accidentally been sleeping with her fiance. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be a doozy. Burner account, because what the heck is my life right now? Oh boy, that's a hell of a title, I'm aware. I don't really know how to start this, so I'll just get into it. I'll preface this by saying that I am a 22-year-old male, very, very gay. I was in high school when I met this friend, and she was the cool older kid, the year above me. For all intents and purposes, we'll call her Sienna, 23, female. Now after high school, I went out of state for college, while Sienna went to the local uni. We kind of lost touch, other than the obligatory happy birthday, Merry Christmas text. So you can imagine my surprise when I got a text from my mom a few months ago saying that a wedding invitation from Sienna got delivered to my parents' house. Sure enough, a quick text to the lucky lady confirmed she was getting married. Her longtime partner, Marcus, 25, had finally proposed. A summer wedding right in my hometown, right when I and some of our other friends would be back in town from uni. I was invited to one of those pre-wedding girls' nights because my life is that of a two-dimensional comic relief gay side character, I guess. We got wasted, like the kind of drunk where logic isn't even in the same dimension. So when the topic of other people in the hashtag girl squad relationship came up, like the genius I was, I whipped out my phone to show them the hot guy I have been hooking up with as just a dumb summer fling, who turned out to be Marcus.
Oh my.
Me now, save me from the mortification. Rightfully so, Sienna lost her sugar. Fair, no criticism for me. But then she turned on me and started blaming me for, quote, ruining the wedding. For clarification, because I'm sure this will come up in the comments, no, the wedding invitation did not have any photos on it. It was one of those minimalist designs with the overtop calligraphy, that's it. Her socials only featured her. I had no way of knowing what he looked like. I don't personally think I was at fault here, but here is where I think I messed up. I very loudly and to the entire club drunkenly said, "It's not my fault your cheating fiance likes to have his back blown out, Sienna." Oh my god, no you didn't. If I had heard that, I would have laughed so freaking hard, so hard. I would have ruined that friendship and would have had to begging for forgiveness later on because I really couldn't have helped myself. I'm freaking dead. Dead. I feel absolutely awful. I don't want to be the other woman, technically guy, but you get it. And I certainly don't want to hurt a friend like that. I've apologized 1,000 times, but she's not interested in talking to me, which I totally get. When confronted, he confessed to not only hooking up with me, but also 8 different guys. Wait, what? What? 8 different guys? Oh man, screw this guy. To the trash. To the trash with you, Marcus. Over the course of their relationship, the wedding has been called off. AITA. Yeah, I bet it was. Holy cannoli. Ah, man, poor girl. This is no way to find out that your partner's been cheating on you. So, yeah, I wouldn't have said the last bit, but I get the feeling that all reason had left the room several hours earlier that night. Honestly, in the long run, finding out before their wedding was probably the best thing. Maybe not loudly in front of a club full of people, but big picture, it's better to find out sooner than later. Right now, she's not going to see it that way, and what her fiance did is going to mess her up for a really long time. Sometimes it's easier to blame the quote other woman, as you put it, than blame the person they're in love with. Part of her will eventually have to admit that she made the wrong choice in choosing a partner, and that someone that she loved lied and betrayed her. I would apologize for how you announced it in front of everyone, despite how funny I find it. It's really not that funny, but it's funny. But give her time. She will come to terms with the truth and see that it's really not your fault. Her fiance is the one who ruined the wedding and the relationship, and the blame really lies with him. So, NTA. As a disclaimer, I saw a bunch of comments that think the story is fake, and many stories on Reddit may be, but who really knows? However, I still like to talk about these subjects because regardless if this story is not true, things like this do happen. So let's take a look and see what other people had to say. Yikes. You helped her dodge a bullet for sure. She's just upset now, but I hope that someday she will realize it was all for the best. NTA. True, but maybe she won't realize it, and you just have to give her the space. You did her such a great friend service. And of course, your friend was so invested in that marriage that she's in shock and doesn't realize how helpful you were, or else she was very superficial. No, I don't think she's superficial. I think her reaction was typical of someone whose life really just blew up. Or she's an emotional wreck, doesn't know what to do, how to feel, how to act. So she's lashing out where she can. Namely, the friend who completely, totally, and unknowingly wrecked this girl's world. I came in like a wrecking ball. Yeah, I definitely believe it was unknowing. I mean, if he was seeking maximum drama, he would have done it at the wedding. But he didn't. This kind of stuff takes time to work through. OP needs to let go of the guilt since this is entirely not his fault. It's okay to feel awful about the whole thing. People definitely should feel awful for this woman. But the only fault going around here belongs on the fiance. Yes, I most definitely agree. The one who ruined everything was the person doing the cheating. But OP is the visual image of the moment everything went south. And that's just hard. Quote, time is a great healer was meant about situations like this. This is so wise, and everyone criticizing Sienna needs to read this. Life isn't black and white. There's so much gray in between, and this poor girl's world has come crashing down. So close to her wedding. Of course, it's not OP's fault, but, quote, don't shoot the messenger is a saying for a reason. He's now found himself right at the center of it all. It's like I said before, she's going to be really messed up about this. She will be spending a long time mourning the loss of the future that she will no longer have. And cheating really does have a ripple effect on everyone around them. NTA, because how are you to know? I do feel sorry for Sienna though. Better now than after the wedding or at the wedding. Can you imagine OP showing up to the wedding and recognizing the groom as his fling? Now that's some real drama. Oh my god, that would be insane. I can imagine it. The groom and OP come to face, the groom freezes and goes pale, and then someone, would definitely pick up on that. Probably the bride or the bride's friends. Ugh, what a mess. And please, both you and Sienna get STD tests. I can't stress this enough. Yeah, plus, the fiance admitted to sleeping with 8 different guys through the course of their relationship. So not only should they get tested, but clearly this was a problem way before OP came along. She needs a scapegoat for her pain and betrayal. You were sitting right there. What you said might have been a bit over the top, but the truth nonetheless. Let her be and step back and don't feel bad. You're an innocent party in this clusterfudge. This comment really sums it up nicely. The situation kind of reminds me of something similar that happened to me. I had this friend and I was hanging out with a group of girls, one of which was his girlfriend, and she started bragging about how she was cheating on my friend. So naturally, I told him what she was saying. Unfortunately, he got mad at me and accused me of lying and being jealous of the relationship. So we stopped talking for a while until he come to find out that, well, it was Drew, and then they broke up. Later on, he apologized, saying that he should have listened to me sooner and that he knew that I was just trying to look out for him and be a good friend, but our relationship really was never quite the same. I tell you this to say that sometimes even if you do tell the truth to help them dodge a bullet, things might not go back to being the same. And there is not much you can do about it. What's done is done. All you can really do is move on and hope for the best in the future. So this next one I know is not AITA. I found it on r/legal advice. However, I found it kind of funny and the ending very satisfying. I had gone for a 1-week vacation and gave my house keys to a friend to look after and take care of my 2 dogs at my house. He gave keys to his girlfriend and let her stay at my house. She isn't leaving now after I came home. I called the cops, but they say this would be a civil matter. What to do? I am an owner of a 2-story house. I had gone to Hawaii last week for a 1-week vacation with my wife. No one was at home and it wasn't feasible for us to take our dogs. So I gave my house keys to a good friend of mine and asked him to take care of my 2 dogs. This involves feeding them, changing the water, and taking them for a 1-hour walk daily. So his girlfriend was in town and she had no place to stay. He lives in a 1-bedroom condo with 2 roommates. So he messaged me and asked if I would allow his girlfriend to stay in my house for 1 night. I agreed as it was just a matter of 1 night. Now, yesterday I came back and found out his girlfriend has made a dwelling in the upper floor of my house. She has been staying here for 4 days. I asked her to leave immediately, but she and my friend are insisting to let her stay for 1 more week because she is searching for a job in LA, California. Okay, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't know who you are, why you're in my house. You're a stranger, so no, I will not be helping you. Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Wow. The absolute gall. I called the police. They came and said this would be a civil matter and I have to go through the eviction process. Okay, yeah, so I don't understand why. She's not your tenant and you're not her landlord. Why eviction? What? And maybe it's a California thing? I don't know. So I'm here with an unwanted stranger in my upper floor and a friend who broke her promise and a pissed off wife. What to do, guys? Can I change the locks and throw her stuff out while she's away? Cut the electricity to the upper floor? Wow, this entitlement is crazy. Yeah, this is a crummy thing to do to a friend. This friend like dumped his girlfriend off at OP's house to squat. And I say girlfriend with quotes here because I kind of get the feeling this guy knew how awful a person this woman was and was kind of looking for a place to sort of scrape her off. And not for nothing, but what if his friend made a couple of keys? I would want to change the locks ASAP and throw her stuff out on the lawn. However, I think it's smart to ask for advice because of the potential legal ramifications. So I don't know enough about the law to advise, but I'm curious to see what the comments had to say. Call the police again. Tell them she is a trespassing former guest of 4 days and she needs to be removed. Change the locks, lose the friend. Okay, yeah, this makes more sense because there is no way someone could gain residency of your house after 4 days. That would be nuts. Lose the friend, seriously. That's some high-functioning scumbag Steve poop. Burn the bridge with napalm. There was a comment left by OP saying he told his friend off, and it sounds like they are no longer friends. He lives in a condo with 2 other guys, and they can't be bothered by having a girlfriend stay there. Either she really sucks, or she isn't his girlfriend. I think OP said it was like a 1-bedroom. Might not have actually been enough room. Still doesn't mean he sticks her at OP's place for a week. Yeah, I found this kind of fishy, which makes me think the friend was looking for a place to dump her without having to deal with her. Call the police again, and continue to do so until they show up and do something. She is trespassing. The police will not evict her without a court order, but since she is not a resident, this is not an eviction. Just removing her from the property upon which she is trespassing. This is the law that the police would be enforcing in this situation. Just let them know. It's probably wouldn't hurt to have a copy of the residency establishment guideline printed up for them to peruse if they have any questions. Yeah, maybe the cops didn't understand exactly and thought she was just a tenant somehow. I am confused because it doesn't sound like she fits the criteria, but different state. I'm not a lawyer, but is this technically trespassing? Text can confirm the owner gave permission to come to his property, granted only for a day. So does it fall under the strictest terms of the word? I was wondering this myself. But there is no way if someone crashes on your couch for 4 days, this now means that they've become a resident and you have to give 30 days notice before you can remove them from your home. For 1 day, it's trespassing the moment you're no longer welcome, unless you've established residency, which does not happen over 1 day. or even 4 days. You cannot just ask people if you can stay for 1 day and then refuse to leave. Okay, this makes more sense, and I did look this up. This sounds more like trespassing. Where things get tricky is if he gave her permission, written or handshake, to stay for more than 7 to 14 days. It depends on the state. At that point, she would have what's called established residency and would then need 30 days notice before he could remove her. So here I found a comment from OP, and he said, told her I'd pay $100 for relocation. This witch is saying raise it to $5,000 and she'll consider the offer. Well, I changed the word that he used to witch, but yeah, this woman sounds like a nightmare person. But we have an update. Good morning, guys. This is an uplifting update. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for such an overwhelming response. I'm glad that there are people who would spend time from their busy lives to help a random stranger on the internet. So after reading all of your advice here and carefully discussing the matter with my cousin, we made a nasty plan. Ooh, exciting. Yesterday night, the squatter girl went out to grab some dinner with her boyfriend. Me and my cousin carefully packed all of her stuff in her 3 bags, left them out on my front porch, and locked ourselves in the house. We also looked over her stuff from the window to make sure no one would steal it. Our wait was over after 2 hours when the girl returned. She figured out and started pounding on our door, yelling loudly to open the door. You know, typical squatter drama. We told her to go duck off and we won't open the door. So finally, after 30 minutes of constant drama, she dared to call the cops. I was nervous how it would turn out. Cops arrived. Fortunately, these were different ones than the previous night. First, they listened to her side. Then they came to me. I explicitly told them that I was the sole owner of this house and never allowed her to stay more than 1 night. She was not only trespassing, but living in my house illegally without my permission. The witch kept on saying I gave her permission to stay there indefinitely, and now was being kicked out. The officer asked, she have any proof of that? She claimed she had some messages which accidentally got deleted.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
Now for the best part. The officer asked for her ID, and she gave it to them. The officer verified it over the radio. Suddenly, they told him this witch had a failure to appear warrant for months-old shoplifting case. Stupid lady was arrested immediately. Her stuff would be sent to a friend's house. The officer said that I don't need to worry and they'll take care of her. I don't require any further action. So finally, I am relieved from this squatter and the witch is behind bars. What sweet justice. All is well that ends well. Oh yeah, sweet, sweet justice. So what is that saying? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes? Called the cops with a warrant out for her arrest. Criminal mastermind right there. Yeah, sometimes, you know, there really is karmic justice. OP might want to invest in some new security cameras. She sounds stupid enough to retaliate by vandalizing the house. Yeah, she really does. That's some good advice. Plus, I would recommend telling friends and neighbors that she's not welcome in your house, and that if they ever see her in the neighborhood, to call the cops. Can't believe she was stupid enough to leave the house and expect that you would let her back in. Yeah, sometimes people are full of themselves and think everything should just be handed to them. I mean, she called the cops, fully thinking that she had the right to live in OP's house like some type of tenant. I have no doubt that she thought OP wouldn't even dare to lock her out because she thought she had the upper hand. But well-deserved justice. I think reading people's stories and hearing their experiences, like the ones found here on Reddit, make for some really interesting conversation and discussion. I also enjoy doodling because I find it very calming, and doodles are something everyone can do. If you have a story you wish to discuss on this channel and feel up to sharing it, you can find my email in the link box. So I hope you found today's stories interesting and the doodles calming. Comment your thoughts below. I really would love to hear from people, but if you're shy, I totally get it. Please just maybe leave some emojis. That would help out a lot. Also, if you feel so inclined, please subscribe. Thank you for watching to the end. I look forward to reading your guys' comments. See you in the next one. Bye!